Now, as we know, of course, the summer season is starting to kind of dwindle down a little bit here. We're in the month of August. Now, if you were not aware of this, the month of August is actually National Emergency Management Awareness Month. Now, this is a time to recognize and celebrate all of the vital work of emergency managers and to promote the preparedness within communities and how important that is. It's really a month-long campaign that does aim to highlight the crucial role that emergency managers play in safeguarding lives and property before, during, and after those disasters. We do have the director with us of Kane County Emergency Management here with us today. Scott, thanks so much for joining with us today. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you taking the time and energy to come in here to the station to talk with us.
I appreciate it.
Of course. So, Scott, introduce yourself for those who don't know you and your role as director for Kane County Emergency Management.
Okay. Well, my name is Scott Buziecki. I have been the director of the Kane County Office of Emergency Management since October of 2023. And it's a great place to work, and we do some exciting and interesting things, I think. And we're excited to try to educate the public a little bit about what we do, because I think one of our challenges is people don't understand what emergency management is, like they do with the police and the fire department. Those are household names, and what we do is a little bit more behind the scenes, but important nonetheless. So we wanted the chance to talk about that a little bit and hopefully educate the public and help them get more prepared.
Absolutely. So we'll start off here. If you could describe a little bit of some roles and key responsibilities that you as the director would have for the Kane County's Office of Emergency Management.
Okay. Well, so I lead the office, so all of the activities of the office are under my purview. And so essentially, in a nutshell, my team and I help county government, municipal governments, and the public build resilience to emergencies and disasters, which ultimately can save lives and helps everyone get back to normal faster. And that's boils it down in a nutshell. There's a lot more to it than that, and a lot of moving pieces. But it's really interesting. I think once you get into it, it's allowed me to continue my public safety career, and I'm excited about where we're going with this.
Absolutely. Now, again, this is Management Awareness Month. So, I mean, this means a lot to your office. How do you use it to reinforce public safety and preparedness efforts? So
what we're doing, using this month to talk about what we do, both here today, as well as a social media campaign on our Facebook and Instagram pages, and holding some events to educate some of our stakeholders. And so we're doing a Emergency Operations Center open house and tour for the members of the Kane County Board and Kane County staff, and as well as public safety leaders like fire chiefs and police chiefs. Many of them have never even been there, and give them an idea of what we do and where we do it and how we do it. But we're also using this opportunity to talk to the public about what we do, so that they understand, and also what they can do to prepare themselves. Because I think that's an important piece. With over 500,000 residents, it's really important that people prepare to take care of themselves for a disaster. And there's a lot of things that they can do. And a lot of them are things people don't realize until they hear it, and then they have an aha moment, like, never even thought of that. And we get that a lot. That's why we teach public education classes. And once we usually do that, people, they find out what they don't know, and that's enough to get them moving and doing some small preparedness actions. And it can seem daunting that seems like maybe there's a lot to do, but really, if you do something, every day or every week or every month, you can break it down, and little by little, you get more prepared. And if you just wait because that's a major task or whatever, then you probably never get it done. And I think there's small things that people can do, like having a emergency kit in their home, first aid kit, knowing how to get their warnings and watches and things like that are the most important things for the public to stay safe.
Absolutely. And working together, talking with each other as a community and asking a lot of those questions too. And speaking of questions, what would you say is kind of the most common question that you get asked a lot about when it comes to emergency management, would you say? Even if it's a very general one.
It probably has to do with weather. and I didn't hear the tornado sirens, outdoor weather sirens, and that's a challenge that we face all the time because we are in an era when these outdoor weather warning sirens have been around since the mid 1900s, 1950s, and in there. And the truth is, they're really never were meant to warn people in their homes, but people have become accustomed to hearing them, especially going back decades. They think I can hear the siren, so I'm okay with that. Challenge is, you not only should be able to hear them, whatever your warning method is, you should be woken up by it, because the most dangerous time for severe weather like tornadoes is at night when people are sleeping, and so you need something that's going to wake you up. Unfortunately, in most cases, the sirens will not wake people up, and so we try to tell people, don't rely on the sirens when you're inside of a structure. They were originally put in decades ago to warn people who are outside, primarily farmers on a farm field, and what that meant was go inside and get further information. But people have become accustomed to them, and now I think there are better ways to receive that vital information. And one of the best, most basic ways is a NOAA weather alert radio. It's something that costs you less than $100. Put in your home, and you can program it for the types of warnings you want. I have mine at my house programmed to only warn me for severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings. Everything else, I don't need to be woken up for. And it's placed in the hallway of our house, where you could hear it downstairs if you're up. You can hear it in the bedroom if you're sleeping, and that's what you need to have, something that will wake you up. Other thing that works really well is smartphone apps. There's probably hundreds of them out there. An app that will warn you and wake you up is something that you have to have, and everything else beyond that is secondary. We love TV and radio. That's great. Once you're woken up or you're alert to the warning, now it's go find more information via TV, radio, internet, whatever that may be. But getting that warning in a timely manner is really important, because today, you may only have minutes to react to that, and today's warnings are much more accurate, especially down to the geographic area. That's how the warnings go to your cell phone, and that's the biggest question we get is, how come I didn't hear the sirens, or how come my app didn't go off when I know there was a tornado in Kane County? Well, it's probably because the area that was under a threat, you were not in that area. And the Weather Service, when they put that warning out, they draw a polygon on a map, and if you're within or near that area, you get the warning. If you're not, you don't, because one of the challenges of all this also is message fatigue. People get tired of false alarms, and eventually they turn off the wireless emergency alerts on their phone, or they turn off the weather radio in their home because they're tired of that. But that's can become kind of dangerous too.
Now, what about for folks out there, especially maybe senior citizens who are not as tech savvy? How do you recommend that they keep in tune with what's going on?
The weather radio is probably the best way. Once it's set up, it really is just programming it with the right code for Kane County, and that's pretty much it. Now, that's something that we could help with. We could help over the phone, and I even have staff that probably would go to someone's house and do that. There's also some information out there that we could share that would help people with that. But especially for someone who doesn't use smartphone apps, you just can't rely on sirens waking you up.
Right.
You need something that's going to wake you up. And unfortunately, TV and radio are great methods also if you're awake and watching or listening to them. But if you're not, they're probably not going to wake you up.
Right.
And that's the most important thing.
Have you had any specific ideas on potentially implementing newer, I don't even know if you'd be able to do it, devices for folks that would go off if they wore it on their neck, or things like that kind of?
We have a mass notification system, and that's something that we've had for a long time, and we don't send weather alerts to that because the Weather Service sends them. But we are looking at some options for that system to rebroadcast those alerts. We haven't up to this point because we would have to take the warning and then enter it into our system and send it, and there's a delay to that. But some options we're looking at would give us the ability to have that automatically happen. And so I would say signing up for alerts from your local community. So if you live in Elgin, sign up for the alert system that they have, or if you're in Carpentersville, whatever system they have. And that's, Kane County, we have ours, but then most of the municipalities, especially the larger ones along the Fox River, they all have systems like that. And that's also, a really good thing to do.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit more about some of the classes that you have available.
So we teach what we call emergency and disaster preparedness, and we do all different audiences. So there's an adult class, there's a class tailored for seniors, there's a class tailored for businesses, and then one of our most popular things is the classes tailored for kids. And we've been doing those for a number of years now, and I think we reach about 1,000 kids a year, and we teach them in a fun and age appropriate way how to be aware of the kind of things that may threaten their home, because in a lot of cases you have kids that are home after school alone, and we've gotten from people, well, aren't you going to scare kids by talking about tornadoes? Well, maybe a little. We do it in a fun, age appropriate way, but my question is, aren't we all going to be a little scared if a tornado is coming at our house? And I think the best thing for kids that may be faced with that is, let's talk about it. Let's have them, go through the class and learn what to do, even in a little mini drill in class where we teach them where are the safe places to go and things like that. And then, there's other parts of the class. There's some basic first aid and some other safety things around the home that I think are important for kids. So we've had great response to the classes. In fact, in 2024, we had 10 tornadoes in Kane County, and we had a number of parents reach out to us and say that their kids had been through the classes and they knew what to do. Some even helped their younger siblings. We give out a go bag. We call it a go bag. It's kind of like a mini emergency kit for kids. It has a first aid kit and a flashlight and a whistle, and then some coloring books and things like that about disasters. And a lot of cases that the kids understood better what to do. They weren't as scared, and they helped their siblings. And we've been teaching this. We've been setting up classes for scouts and after school programs, and over the summer we do Girl Scout camps, and there's a new camp every week. And just they learn all kinds of different, I think they're really life skills. And even though we've taught several thousand over the past few years, it's only a drop in the bucket of 500,000 people. But I think it's important that we keep sending this message, because prepared kids now, we think, grow up to be prepared adults. And these days in the public, there's a lot of people who they've never experienced disaster. And we're lucky in our region that we don't have a lot. We don't have hurricanes. If you live in the Southeast, that's a constant threat, right? So up here, we people haven't experienced that. And one of the challenges is people don't think it's going to happen. And we find that some of the older generation who grew up maybe with their parents who lived through things like the Depression and things, they lived without at a certain time of their life. They knew challenges of getting things. And so other than that, people think, well, if I run out of groceries, I'm just going to go to the store and get some. If I run out of water, I'm just going to go buy another pack of water at the grocery store. But what if the grocery store's out because everybody thinks the same thing and they go get all that? And we saw that during COVID, unfortunately. Toilet paper was hard to get because people hoarded it and stuff. So we think some basic things like having an emergency kit in your house with some food and water and medicine for 3 to 5 days is what you should be doing, because then you're not going to be without you. Then there's time for people to come and help you. But in those initial hours and days, their help is hard to come by, especially if it's a wide disaster that a lot of police and fire departments are going to be super busy, and they're dealing with people who are hurt or worse, and there isn't time or resources to bring things to people. So things like that is probably the best thing that the public can do. And the stuff that we do on a daily basis behind the scenes is preparing the government and public safety agencies and all that for our role in those disasters. But we're always preaching the message of the public being prepared so they can take care of themselves.
Absolutely. And that's so important too, to, even if people feel a little like, oh, maybe I'm over preparing a little bit, it's better to do that than to under prepare.
Absolutely.
So
I mean, there's people, some people will, make fun of people that have stuff, but if there's a disaster, you can't find groceries for a week or more. The people that have the stuff are the ones that's going to be probably where you're going to want to go hang out.
Right.
And so by not doing that, and you're setting up your family to fail. And I think when we do these classes and people come in and they say, well, I didn't know what I didn't know. And just thinking about these things through it, and this class is a couple of hours. So it's not a huge commitment, but it gets people thinking. And that's the key to preparedness. Just think about, if there were a disaster and I couldn't get stuff, what stuff do I need to live on a daily basis? Well, you need water, you need food, and you need medicine. Those are the main ones. First aid kit. There's other things. You want a radio so you can hear about the disaster or what you need to know. But those things will get you through it. And without those, then you're stuck, and then you're hungry, you're thirsty, and those are things that you can't live without very long.
Right. And I know, again, here we talked a little bit about that you feature different programs and applications, recommend applications. The technology has grown immensely, so that has definitely helped a lot as well. And, of course, I also have to ask, so when disaster does happen, do you help folks who are in need in the process of getting their lives back together, or do you refer them to others to do that?
Well, it's a mix. Yeah. So we're a small staff. So I have a staff of 6, including myself.
Okay.
But 67 volunteers. So we have a great volunteer program. And those volunteers last year put in about over 13,000 hours,
wow,
which equates to a value of about $450,000. If you take an average hourly rate, what you would have to pay people to do that, it comes out to about $450,000. And so we do a lot of things on a daily basis, regular emergencies, but in a disaster, resources are hard to come by. So more than anything in a disaster, we're a coordinator. We coordinate with those that have the resources to provide services and help people. But ultimately, our goal is as a coordinator to coordinate things so that people can get back to normal. So one of our big initiatives right now and going into 2026 is something called Disaster Ready Kane. And what that is a recovery committee that's a collaborative network of government, nonprofits, businesses, and even individuals. And the whole point is we have organizations, nonprofits, and civic groups throughout Kane County, and I'm sure here in Elgin, there's a lot of them. And they're already doing things for the community on a daily basis. Well, if you needed people to help open shelters because we needed people to support that, we have the Red Cross, but we also have people that are experienced with, like, say, homeless shelters. Not that you're opening a new homeless shelter, but people that know how to shelter people.
Right.
So if I needed people to do that, and so we're just in the early stages of setting this up. So it's using organizations within the community that already have some knowledge of that. So, we will have the Red Cross and the Salvation Army and United Way and some other organizations. And the idea is use them, bring them together. We call, like, today is a blue sky day. So we do this work on blue sky days so that on the gray sky days, we already have a relationship with them. We already have things in place for what they can do and how we can put them to work doing that. And then, it's a matter of making a phone call to whoever's leading that, who can then put out a blast to their people and say, hey, we need shelter volunteers at this date and time and location. Show up, we give a briefing. We could do the same thing with damage assessment after disaster. We have to go, to basically assess structures to determine if our area is eligible for disaster funding. So things like that, when we need people, there's people in those organizations. And so with very little cost, the cost essentially is the overhead of running the group, but we're not paying anybody for it. We're just going to use the organizations that are out there. And we've had a tremendous response from those organizations that we've talked to that they want to help, because that's what they do. They help.
Right.
Churches and houses of worship and places like that, they help people on a daily basis. So who better to help people on a rare disaster day when more and more people need it than ever before, is hopefully get people that are displaced somewhere warm and get to some clothes and some food, and work the process to help get everybody back to normal, open up businesses and things like that so people can go back to work.
Absolutely. It's so important when you work together as a community. These volunteer opportunities are there for you folks out there who might have a passion for this as well. I know that you do offer different bureaus that are out there too. So the Field Response Bureau, Disaster Assistance, Communications, as well as Search and Rescue. So all that information, folks, if you do want to find it, if you want to become a member on their volunteer program, please feel free to visit their website. That is KCOEM.org, and you can find it up on the website. And if you're watching on YouTube, I do have it up on here as well too. So that's how you'll be able to become a member. Again, also in terms of preparedness, you can speak with Beth Drendel. She is the specialist. So please feel free to check that out as well. Again, that is Kane County Emergency Management. And then how can people reach you for any questions or comments as well?
So our main phone number is 630-232-5985. Took me a second to think of that. And so, I mean, we're different than the police or fire department. We're during non-disaster times, we have typically business hours, although we work all hours. We work evenings and weekends a lot, but we're not staffed 24/7. So if you call us and it's after hours, our phone rolls over to the KaneCom, which is the Kane County Emergency Communications, the dispatch center. But we also have an email address, if it's okay to share that. It's Kane County EOC at kanecountyil.gov.
Awesome.
So that's a main email that goes to all of our staff, and that's a really good way to reach us so that any one of our 6 staff who receives that could potentially reply to people.
Well, Scott, thanks so much for joining us today, folks. We're going to take a quick time out. We'll be back with more.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.